I cannot wait for this weekend of Formula One racing in Bahrain, despite both Formula One World Championships being wrapped up already. We have so much to look forward to, so this is my 5 things to look out for at the Sakhir Grand Prix. My name's Andy, and this is Behind the Drive. Number 1. Hamilton's replacement. In a season that's had many firsts, twists and turns, there has been yet another, with Lewis Hamilton contracting COVID-19 on Monday this week, after winning the Bahrain Grand Prix and testing negative for the virus on Sunday. Hamilton becomes the 3rd driver this season to miss a race through contracting the virus. He's now self-isolating in Bahrain, and his attendance at the final round in Abu Dhabi is in doubt, as he needs at least 10 days of isolation before being allowed into the country. Fortunately, the 35-year-old is only suffering with mild symptoms, and I hope that he recovers quickly and provides enough negative tests in time to be allowed into the country to race next weekend. Hamilton has been said to be gutted about not being able to race this weekend, but I'm sure that he will be thankful that he's already wrapped up the Drivers' Championship and Mercedes have retained the Constructors' Championship. On Wednesday morning, after a day of speculation over Hamilton's replacement, the Mercedes young driver of George Russell was confirmed to be taking the vacant Mercedes seat for this weekend. Other potential candidates included Mercedes reserve driver Stoffel Vandoorne, who has flown to Bahrain as planned following the Formula E testing earlier this week. Nico Hülkenberg was also in the running after he was used as Racing Point's super sub on 2 occasions this season, after each of their drivers also tested positive. For me, George Russell was the obvious choice for Mercedes, given he was considered for the 2021 Mercedes drive before Valtteri Bottas's contract extension had been confirmed. The young driver is lucky that Williams have been so accommodating to allow him to drive for the team, given he's coming towards the end of the 2nd year of his 3-year deal with the Grove outfit. It'll be a great experience for George in the fastest F1 car of all time, and a car that will offer him a chance to be competitive for the first time in his Formula One career. As a fan favourite, I think everyone will be excited to find out whether George can maintain his perfect qualifying record, and how well he can perform against his experienced teammate in Bottas on Sunday. From what I've been seeing on Twitter, everyone's excited for this race, with the anticipation being similar to that of a first race of a season. But this is not the only thing to be looking out for at this one-off 2020 race. Number 2. That track layout. The next thing to look out for is the unique nature of the Bahrain International Outer Circuit. The circuit has been defined as an almost oval, but I see it as more of an almost square. The track location is the same as last weekend's race, but instead of Sector 2, they take the top section of the track, taking them on towards Sector 3. This layout means they maintain the DRS overtaking opportunity going into Turn 1. The circuit is going to be something that is pretty different to the normal tracks on the 2020 calendar, which is hopefully going to mean an exciting race come Sunday. One thing that we can be absolutely certain of is that we will have quite an exciting Saturday qualifying session. I expect the cars to go for a low downforce setup as they aim to maximise the speed down the straights. Some reports have been saying that they're expecting sub 1 minute lap times, which will be an unbelievable thing to see this weekend. But at the same time, this could cause problems for the front runners during the 87 lap race on Sunday, as the track will be crowded and they may find themselves getting stuck behind other cars on the circuit over the course of the race. Either way, it's a great opportunity for Formula One to experiment with different type of track layout and whether that lends itself to good quality Formula One racing. It makes sense that this track will favour the Mercedes-powered cars, given that they are the most powerful. However, given it's a new circuit, and the teams will have limited information going in, the pack could be quite close this weekend. On top of this, the Red Bull has undoubtedly been more competitive throughout the second half of this season so far, so it'll be great to see how the teams line up this weekend. Number 3. Pietro Fittipaldi and Jack Aitken's Formula One debuts. Not only do we have George Russell's switch into the Mercedes car for the first time, we also have 2 other drivers who will make their Formula One debut this weekend. To start, we have Pietro Fittipaldi, grandson of the 2-time Formula One world champion Emerson Fittipaldi, who will replace the injured Romain Grosjean in the Haas car. This was a logical move for the American team, as Fittipaldi is the current reserve driver and has attended most of the races with Haas this season, so is familiar with the setup at Haas. The 24-year-old has driven the 2018 and 2019 car, so it'll be interesting to see how he gets on with this season's car. The Brazilian driver also has nothing to lose, given that Haas have this week confirmed Nikita Mazepin and Mick Schumacher as their drivers for the 2021 season. Currently, Pietro has been confirmed for this weekend's race, with the decision yet to be made on whether Grosjean will be ready for the Abu Dhabi race. In addition, Jack Aitken will make his Formula 1 debut also this weekend in Bahrain, stepping in at Williams to replace George Russell. The British-Korean driver has been a solid competitor in Formula 2 since 2018, finishing 5th in the championship last season. This year he sits 14th in the championship with 2 podiums, and will not compete in the final round of the Formula 2 season this weekend. The 25-year-old driver has had vast experience in Formula 1 machinery over the last few years, having been in the Renault Young Driver Academy between 2016 and 2019 before joining the Williams Driver Academy in 2020. He's already experienced driving the FW43 car after taking part in practice for the team at the Sakhir Grand Prix earlier this year. It'll be interesting to see how these two rookies get on this weekend, particularly given neither of the drivers really have a chance of gaining a permanent seat for 2021. I'm sure they'll both be keen to prove themselves against their respective teammates. Number 4. McLaren inter-team battle. I feel like I want to keep my eye on this inter-team battle at every race at the moment, with Lando Norris ahead of Carlos Sainz by just 1 point in the Drivers' Championship at the moment. Both performed particularly well last time out, with 4th and 5th place with a good haul of points for the team in the Constructors' Championship, meaning they are now the team to beat in 3rd position, 17 points ahead of the Racing Point team. Given the less experienced driver of George Russell has got the nod for the Mercedes seat ahead of them, it could provide some opportunities for the McLaren drivers to capitalise on this and grab a podium spot this weekend. The team have been consistent throughout the year, and both drivers have already delivered podiums for the team, and they are always fighting for Q3 appearances. With the driver pairing splitting up at the end of the year, both will be desperate to end up on top by the end of the 2020 season, so it could make for an exciting race this weekend. Number 5. My predictions. So, the final point to make in this 5 things to look out for video will be my predictions for the Sakhir Grand Prix. And these predictions are definitely more difficult than normal, given we won't have Lewis Hamilton on the grid for the first time since 2006. I'm going to go bold and predict Mr. Saturday George Russell to snatch pole for this weekend. I think he will revel at the chance to race in a World Championship winning car and will want to prove himself to the Mercedes team and the wider Formula 1 community. On Sunday though, I think the race will go to Valtteri Bottas. He is the more experienced racer, and George has a tendency of making some mistakes on Sunday when the pressure's on. I think Russell will take second, as I expect the Mercedes car to be dominant this weekend. And finally, I think Max Verstappen will have his standard weekend and finish in 3rd. As for my driver of the day, I think this one could go to Pierre Gasly. I remember back to Monza where he drove an outstanding race at a track with long straights, and also at Spa where the AlphaTauri car had similar low downforce setups. He's outperformed his AlphaTauri car throughout this season, and I expect him to continue with this weekend. So, there you have it. There are my 5 things to look out for at the 2020 Sakhir Grand Prix. What do you think? Let me know in the comments, and your predictions for this race weekend. Please leave this video a like if you enjoyed it, and subscribe for more videos like this in the future.